Oh, allow me to reintroduce myself. Holy shit. I don't even have the words right now. That was quite a how you doing. My name is Josh Hart. Lovely to meet you. New York City. It's not the first time that a player has come through that is just a very, 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 very natural fit for what the city loves, admires, appreciates, and at the moment needs for its basketball team. Josh Hart is all of the things. All of the things that you could possibly want, and very few of the things that you don't want. Josh Hart is the whole package and perfect. Actually, no, not a perfect complementary role player in the league today, because I won't go that far. But in terms of every great team, and this is not a great team yet, but every great team has that guy, one of those guys somewhere on the roster who just like, your fuck shit up guy. Josh Hart's going to come into the game. He's going to fuck shit up in a good way. And he did that tonight. And he was, I know Jalen Brunson had ended up with 38 points. Gotta say, I think Josh Hart might have been the player of the game, even with that. I had to start there because there are a lot of things that we're going to talk about. But I think it's only fair to start with Josh Hart after that debut because it was that good. Knicks won a game that, to be quite honest with you, I'm not sure if they deserve to win. They're the better team. I think it's pretty clear that they're the better team. Utah is a good team. I still would not be shocked if they made the play-in. I don't think they will, but I would not be shocked. But Utah was the cleaner team throughout pretty much this entire game. New York was sloppy. They tried to give this game away. The Knicks did, I don't want to say 10 ways from Sunday, but they tried to give it away a lot. End of the first quarter, that debacle. End of the second quarter, that debacle. Even end of the third quarter. And Tibbs was yelling from the bench at Jalen because he gave up way too much room on that three-pointer that went down. That's, 8 points right there if you want to go back a little bit further in the second because there was some lackadaisical D for several possessions there. Whatever. That was a bunch of points that they left on the board. Missed free throws. Julius Randle. Why? I love you, but why are you taking a technical free throw? Please don't do that. Knicks missed 10 from the line tonight. Not great. And speaking of Mr. Randle, and it's not just him. There was some shoddy defense across the board, but can you guard the all-star on the other side? I know you want to outscore him. I know that's how you want to show him up. I get it. You got to guard too. And he started guarding him there, or he started to try to guard him there towards the end. I don't know how much good it did, but come on, the guy's wide open in the corner. I know he was 0 of 7 at the time. I think 0 of 6, 0 of 7. Talking about Lauri Markkanen, obviously, from 3, but you just can't let a guy like that get going, and you give him all the space in the world, he's going to get going. I thought they got fortunate with that. No, look, this is a very good offensive team. I might actually go on to say it's a great offensive team. Their league ranking would say that they are closer to a great offensive team than a good offensive team. At the very least, they are very good offensively. So I don't want to downplay that. They, with their size and their speed, they're just really hard to guard. They're really good. So I don't want to put it all on the fact that the Knicks didn't defend to their normal capabilities. Another game without Mitchell Robinson, let that not go unsaid. But still, based on talent and based on how the Knicks shots were going down for a lot of this night, and they ended up with 126 points. Let's be frank, this should have been more than a 6-point win. But a win is a win is a win, and it was a necessary win. I posed it in the Substack chat for any of the newsletter subscribers. Not quite a must-win game, but there was, for me at least, this prospect hanging over us of potentially going into the All-Star break with 4 straight losses because we just lost in Philly. This Brooklyn team, watch the hell out because they're like, I know they lost one of the best players in basketball and whatever you want to consider Kyrie Irving. This team is not bad. They're good. And I am thinking already about the Monday game with some nervous excitement. Anyway, there's that game, and then we go down to Atlanta. You don't want to go into the All-Star break with riding a 4-game skid. So now, at the very least, even if you lose the next 2, you go into the All-Star break above 500. I said when we found out that Mitch was going to go down or be down until after the All-Star break, I said at the time, if you get to the All-Star break at 500, that's okay. I would sign for it. They are now going to go into the All-Star break above 500, 2 games above 500 at the very least. If they could go in more than 2 games above 500, I mean, kudos to them. Can they beat Brooklyn? Can they go into Atlanta and win that game? Sure. They could win both of those games. They could lose both of those games. I'm not going to be losing sleep now between now and the All-Star break. You'd love for them to go in on a high note, but like, it's not the end of the world. They're going in above 500. I'll take it. Other than Josh Hart, some other thoughts about tonight. I mean, Jalen Brunson, again, I know I just said that Josh Hart might be the player of the game. 38 points on 22 shots, 5 assists. Just another day at the office for a guy who apparently is not an NBA All-Star. Someone's going to have to explain that one to me. I know I just said the other day, and I stand by it, like Edwards, Fox, Pascal Siakam, defensible replacement picks. Like, not insane, but, man, Jalen Brunson, just Jalen Brunson. I don't know what more you could say. Again, like Josh Hart, not a perfect point guard, but he's the guy you want on your team. And he was stymied a little bit tonight, just like the Sixers stymied him after the first quarter last night. By the way, back-to-back win. Pretty good. Or a win on a back-to-back, I should say. Phrasing matters, as I've learned a lot recently. So I thought he did a good job figuring out ways to impact the game positively, even though the Jazz were really going out of their way to make it so that he was not the one to beat them. He still figured out some ways to beat them. Other than him, I thought, again, obviously, Josh Hart, big game. Randall, let's go to Randall next because that's the easy one. An up and down Randall game, shall we say. Some frustrating Randall moments, shall we say. Also, some very big Randall moments. Offensively, it is really, really, really tough to knock how well he is playing right now. I thought his approach, for the most part, was pretty good. But yeah, up and down Randall game. And then the centers. Jericho Sims, a lot of frustrating moments tonight. It's amazing that a guy that we keep hearing, he could get his head above the rim. Well, if you could get your head above the rim, like, how are you getting shots blocked so easily? How are you not blocking more shots on the other end? That said, I thought Sims did a good job coming back as the game went on, at least making his presence felt. He had that one possession under the basket where he got his own offensive rebound a couple times and ended up getting a goaltend called. Hardenstein, though, again, I mean, talk about the rebirth of a dead man. We all wanted him out of here, or at the very least, like, glued to the bench. Another guy, I'm not sure they win this game without Isaiah Hartenstein. Okay, let's talk about the other players who played basketball tonight, and perhaps one that didn't. And then we'll roll from this into the moment of the game and personal injury report. It's always a dicey proposition when you acquire a guy who is not a homegrown player, especially one that's going to be a free agent, as my light keeps giving me an issue. I don't know what that's a sign of. Especially one that's going to be a free agent like Josh Hart. And that player takes time, opportunities, time and opportunities, basically, from young players on your roster, especially young players that are good. 2 years ago, the team acquired Derrick Rose in the middle of the season. I don't think that Derrick Rose's acquisition hindered anybody's development, for sure, because I think he actually made life easier and better for Obi Toppin and Emmanuel Quickley. But, there's an argument there that, like, okay, you're bringing in a 32-year-old vet. This is not that. I understand Hart's going to be a free agent. I have zero question in my mind that Isaiah Hart is going to, or Isaiah Hart. I'm doing it already. My Lord. Josh Hart. This is going to be a problem. Josh Hart is going to get re-signed. Sounding, by the sound of his introductory press conference, sounds like he thinks he's going to get re-signed. I don't think he's going anywhere. I'm not worried about that. I'm also not going to put him in the Derrick Rose transaction category because Derrick Rose was 32 years old, coming off, kind of an injury-plagued career. He had one more run left in him. It is what it is. Josh Hart is not like young. He's 27. He's going to be 28 pretty soon. But like this guy's got another 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm 2, 3 at the very least, 4, probably 5, 6 years as a very helpful NBA contributor left. Everybody gets paid eventually. And it sounds like they're probably going to be able to get him at a workable number if I had to guess. Quickly's extension eligible this summer. Grimes is a year and a half away from that. It's not about the money. It's not about the money. At the same time, good teams figure out a way as they are getting from bad to mediocre to good to develop their own talent. And the Knicks have not been perfect at this. Hi, Obi Toppin. We're going to talk about him in a second. And you could throw some other guys in there too. But they've been pretty good on the whole. If we zoom out and we kind of like look at the whole picture and we like, okay, Emmanuel Quickley, really positive development story. Quentin Grimes, pretty positive development story. Deuce McBride, even, I would say at this point, is a positive developmental story. And then you got Mitchell Robinson, positive developmental story under this coach and this regime. RJ Barrett is where we start getting into maybe some interesting questions. We'll talk about RJ in a sec. But I want to focus on Quickley and Grimes right now because neither of them were on the floor at the end of the game. Grimes played 22 minutes. Quickley played 23 minutes. Quickley had an outstanding game. He was 6 of 9 from the field. He scored 15 points. His defense was solid. I'm not going to go crazy yet about Emmanuel Quickley playing 23 minutes, which I could look it up, but it feels like that's the least amount of minutes he's played in a while. I'm not going crazy for this very specific reason. The Jazz bring so much size that I wonder if that's a big part of the reason why he only saw 23 minutes tonight. And I know Emmanuel Quickley has a long wingspan and he plays a little bit bigger than he is, but like the Jazz are putting 3 7-footers on the floor pretty much all the time. And like Talen Horton-Tucker is their like shooting guard at times, or like at the very least they're small forward. Basically, if you had Brunson in the game and you had Hart in the game, there was no place to put Quickley, and like Hart is better suited to defend, I think, with size. So I'm not going to go crazy about Quickley just yet. Grimes, I mean, he's still a little bit of cold spell right now. That should factor in. So like we shouldn't be drawing too many conclusions or clutching pearls or any of those sorts of analogies just yet after one game. If that is what you are otherwise inclined to do. You may be someone who says, I don't give a, just play the good players. I think it's a valid issue. I think it's a valid talking point. I think it's a valid concern. Not going nuts about it yet. And just like, again, there are gradients of however you want to call it, appropriate minutes, enough minutes and shots and touches to see, to feel like you're developing these players in an appropriate way. We know it when we see that it's not happening. Again, hello, Obi Toppin. And then we know it when we see it is happening. There's a chance that for the rest of this year, at least, Quentin Grimes, I would think more than Quickley, but maybe both of those two players, it's going to go back into that kind of in-between zone. We'll see. Something to bear watching. And it is something that I think we're going to be talking about. That being said, and Deuce obviously didn't get off the bench tonight. So if you're having an issue with that, I mean, that's fine. I'm not really hung up on it because I think he's still in the organization's plans. And I think his minutes are too much touch and go that it does hurt them on some nights when he really has nothing on offense. There is a guy who, if you want to say Josh Hart should be taking more of his minutes as opposed to Emmanuel Quickley or even Quentin Grimes, and that's RJ Barrett. Now, RJ Barrett went out and had one of the worst first halves of basketball of his season, which is saying something. He came back. He recalibrated in the third quarter. He hit some big buckets in the second half of this game. I thought some of his baskets in the third quarter were important when they were kind of struggling on offense. Those were important baskets. His three-pointer at the end, 2 3-pointers actually, important baskets. So I don't want to downplay what RJ did, has done, can do from here on in. At the same time, and I know it's going to come up, so I'll just bring it up now and get ahead of it. Like, you watch this and you're like, okay, well, if we know that, I mean, we've all heard this before because I've said it before. If the team needs another star and like Josh Hart is a perfect complementary player, then what does that mean for RJ? And then you see moments like missing Obi under the basket with no one within 10 feet of him. And it's like, come on, man. And then I lost track. And were they playing him too physical? Tibbs obviously got a technical. RJ ended up getting a technical because they thought they weren't calling enough fouls. But like, I counted between airballed shots and blocked shots tonight. What was it, 5 or 6? Turnover on his second possession of the game, very bad turnover. It's like these things add up where it's like, it's not just a player struggling with a shot. It's plays that are not winning plays where you got on the flip side, you got a guy like Josh Hart. And I was trying to note everything he did, every freaking screen, every big offensive rebound, everything. I started running out of, like, I have like 12 notations for just like plays that I was like, oh, this could be a play of the game candidate. This could be a play of the game candidate. It's going to be an interesting conversation from now until, I guess, the summertime. Obi, man, poor Obi. Played 9 minutes tonight. There's a video going around of him being frustrated. Again, we didn't get that pass under the basket. Someone reached out to me on the Substack Twitter or the Substack chat app saying, like, I don't know if they were at the game, but saying like Obi maybe not being as up and supportive of his teammates on the bench like he usually is. You have to wonder if Obi Toppin's like, why am I still on this team? Why am I still on this team to play 9 minutes and stand in the corner? And I'm here. I'm here for the discussion as to why that is and where blame lies. I maintain that the blame lies not all on one man, and we know who that man is, but on the organization as a whole, including the people that drafted him and then didn't trade away the guy in front of him. Not saying that they should have, but that's just a fact of the matter. It is what it is, and they decided to keep him after this deadline because the offers that they got, in their estimation, were embarrassing. And it's like, well, what did you think you were going to get for this guy? And I don't know. So that's about it. I want to end on a down note. Hey, the Knicks won a game. It's, again, important win. Big win. Hit a bunch of threes down the stretch. Like, you want to say, they got lucky. They hit a bunch of threes. Well, you know what? They made plays. How many times have we watched this team not make plays down the stretch game? They made plays. Give them credit for that. Okay? Give them credit for that. And with that, we will go to moment of the game. This is going to be a Josh Hart exclusive moment of the game. No one else gets any moment of the game entries at all. I am going to go for moment of the game. I literally have like a dozen things to pick from. I'm going to go with Josh Hart's first bucket is a Knick. I apologize. I forget what the score was, but his first bucket is a Knick. I will go with, man, there's so many freaking offensive rebounds to go with. I want to go with the steal and then the pass ahead to Obi for Obi scoring in transition in like the middle of the second quarter because that was a really fun play. Yeah, sure. Let's go with that for Obi's one basket of the game. And for his third, oh, man. Let's go with his second three-pointer. Was this his second three-pointer? His second three-pointer, the one that felt like it kind of put the game away. Let's go with that. And I can't believe, terrible job by me, that 3 candidates, I don't get 1 offensive rebound in there. What the hell is wrong with me? I don't know. I'm sorry. My apologies. I should be better. But those are the 3 moments of the game. Okay. Personal injury report presented by our friends at Weiss and Rosenblum. Don't forget, if you think you might have a case, call Weiss and Rosenblum today at 212-366-6100. Again, Weiss and Rosenblum, personal injury attorneys, 212-366-6100, or visit weissandrosenblum.com for more information. I'm going to have a long conversation with on my text group with Barry Weiss and his brother, who was not necessarily a big fan of this Josh Hart acquisition. Barry, we got to talk some sense into your brother here. Just saying. Yeah, don't forget. Call a veteran, not a rookie. Okay, personal injury report. Mitchell Robinson out until at least the All-Star break. That is all we have to report at this time. They need him back, man. They need him back. You saw it tonight. It was plain as day. This team needs Mitchell Robinson. They are not the same without Mitchell Robinson. Their defense, I don't even want to look at what their defensive ranking is going to be after this game since Mitchell Robinson went down. It's going to be in the bottom 3 or 4 of the league still. And yet they continue to survive because their offense is freaking gangbusters. So go figure. Okay, that is it. JP, again on the 1s and 2s. Let's do it. Let's get to those super chats. A perfect way to start us off. Sam Garcia, Josh Hart needs to be a Knick for life. Can you still do lifetime contracts in the sport of basketball? I know Magic Johnson once upon a time got, what did he get? 25 years, $25 million? Was that it? I think that was it back in like the 80s. Do you think Josh Hart would sign for that? Do you think Josh Hart would sign for 25 years, $25 million? I would like to sign him for that. That would be great. I hope he is in it for life. And again, this dude's media savvy. He knows what to say and how to say it. But I believed him when he was like, I'm a basketball player that's been looking for a home. I think he found a home. Like, why would you ever want to let this guy get away? Absolutely. Thanks, Sam. Appreciate it. Jibo. Interesting who closed the game, huh, J-Mac? Yeah, I don't, Benji was saying and I hope he doesn't mind me revealing this. Benji was saying in our text thread, Hart's going to become a major crutch for Tibbs. And like, my honest response is like, can you blame him? Which again, it gets into the other issue. That's why I wanted to talk about all that stuff at the beginning of the show about like, yes, there is it's a conversation to be had, and to be clear, again, I thought RJ Barrett was on the floor at the end. Maybe he would have been on the floor anyway. We don't know. But I thought in this game, he was on the floor for sure because of Utah's size. And they were not going to go with Brunson, Quickly, and Hart. But yes, it was interesting. Thanks, Chibo. Dan Hidalgo. What's going on, Dan Hidalgo? As I look up on my screen in League Pass and I see that the freaking Heat came back and beat the Magic. God damn it, Orlando. You beat Denver the other night. You couldn't pull this one out against the freaking Heat? Come on. Dan Hidalgo. I was wrong about Hart. He looked tremendous in every lineup he was in. Even if his shooting regresses, like you said, we can mitigate with shooters. It's not even like you're mitigating with shooters. You're putting a good basketball player on the floor who knows his limitations. That's the important part. If you have a player on the floor who either doesn't realize his own limitations or, more often than not, sticks his own head in, like, knows the limitations, he's like, you know what? I'm going to tune that out. I'm going to power on through. That could be bad. And we see it play out. And I don't need to talk about the specific reasons or the specific names of players we see that play out with, but like you see that play out sometimes. Josh Hart knows what he's good and not good at. He knows how he's helping teams win games. He knows what his role is going to be on this team. Like, just put him on the floor and let that dude go to work. It helps you. He helps you in so many ways, and it really does, I think, put a spotlight on how, when we talk about, well, yeah, the box score is nice, but the there's something lacking. There's not a whole lot of winning plays. We've seen it with IQ in the positive way. Emmanuel Quickly, all the positive things he does don't show up in the box score. Josh Hart's another one, although, my God, how many steals did he have tonight? He had 4 steals, 11 points, 4 steals, 4 offensive rebounds, 7 rebounds total. Not a bad debut. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate that. Colin Reardon, Hart reminds me of a bulkier Emmanuel Quickly. What a fit. Yeah, I think different players. I mean, Quickly's going to, should theoretically continue to hurt other teams with his shooting. Hart gives you a little bit more versatility on defense because he plays a little bit bigger than Quickly, I think. They're just two winning ball players, 2 guys who do all the little things. So yeah, I wouldn't put it past anybody to say like, oh yeah, these players, one reminds me of the other or vice versa. Absolutely. And I can't wait to see them on the floor together a lot. I hope we get to see that a lot because this team's going to be hell to beat and play when they're out there. Thanks, Colin. Jesse M. Josh Hart, connector. Yeah, he's a good connector. He knows it, moves the ball, makes good passes, smart, all the good things. Thanks, Jesse. Good stuff from you. Next up, Dylan Crowley. Knicks playing with some heart and I heart. There for it. Again, get smart basketball players on the floor together. That should be the goal. And Isaiah Hartenstein, I really do wonder how much of it was the Achilles that was bothering him at the beginning of the year that we've heard reported as to why he's now just coming around and playing like this. Whatever it is, the dude was absolutely instrumental tonight. 14 rebounds in 25 minutes, including 6 on the offensive glass. Team high +9. Not an accident at all. Yeah, they're going to make a good combination. I'm excited to see those guys on the floor together for the rest of the year. And what I'll miss, I think, a little bit when Mitch is back, because Hartenstein's going to go back to more of a bench role, and they're going to give Mitch probably as many minutes as he can handle. I'm kind of digging the Hartenstein minutes. He's not Mitch, and they need Mitch. But the Hartenstein minutes are fun in a different way because he's playing like the guy that they signed as opposed to the guy that we saw for most of this year. Good stuff, Dylan. Thank you. Hamdi M. What's the saying? Size matters. Utah's a big-ass team. Yes, they are. Oh, my God, are they? And here's the thing. They're a big-ass team, and then the only ones who aren't big, Colin Sexton and Jordan Clarkson, are fast as shit. Jordan Clarkson is, thank God he couldn't hit a 3 tonight. He was 1 of 8 from deep, but that dude... And I've watched, again, a decent amount of Utah this year because I was really into them early in the year. They were super fun to watch. They still are super fun to watch. Not against our team, though. Clarkson just, when he gets inside and he's working it, he's, we love Jalen Brunson here with all these little mid-rangey things, this and that. Jordan Clarkson has a lot of the same stuff. He is crafty as all hell when he gets in and around the rim. And Colin Sexton's, he's not bad either. Dude averaged 24 points a game. So, they blend size really well with other skill. Curious to see what Agbaji turns into. He was 2 of 2 tonight, made it 3. Anyway, rest of Hamdi's comment. Nice home win. Just another day at the office for Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle. Amazing. This team's 31-27. Good stuff. Thanks, Hamdi M. Appreciate it. Manny Campos, what's going on, man? It was good to see you. Pretty sure I saw you in the Substack chat earlier. Where the Cam Hive at? LOL. No. Don't do that. We don't want to do that. I watched close to all the game last night, the Portland game. Cam looked okay. Shout out to Ace Zulo, our newest contributor here to KFS, did a thread of literally every relevant play to Cam's game last night, and he did some good things. I mean, it reminded me watching and then going back and reliving it with Asulo's thread of like a lot of games we saw Cam play here. Some good, some not so good. I still remain skeptical that unless he fundamentally changes some things about his approach to the game, is going to be able to be a part of a winning team. But like, look good. It was good. It was a good debut from Cam, and I think he'll be. I think he's going to get some chances. I'll say that because the way Portland's season is going, we'll see. Thanks, Manny. MDM, Josh won my heart. We gotta get some t-shirts in the works. Get XJ on the phone. Design some good stuff. It's a marketing bonanza waiting to happen. Thanks, Hamdy. Appreciate it. Joseph Brendan, what's going on? Joseph, how are you? Hart probably makes 65% of the non-scoring winning plays tonight. I mean, I wish I could like there was a moment, I think it was after he got the offensive. Oh, no, sorry. His first corner three that put the Knicks up 104 or something came down the other end, and then that was the moment where Lauren Markkinen, I was going to say Markinson, Colonel Markinson, where Colonel Markinson lost the ball, and then it ended up on the floor, and like Brunson had it, but he didn't really have it, and he gave it up, and it ended up in like a foul at the rim, and Utah, I think, got a couple free throws out of it. I went back because I was recording the game, and I had to rewatch the play like 3 or 4 times to be sure. But guess who got his hand in there and caused Markkinen to fumble away that ball? It was Josh Hart. Like, just the little things of like knowing when to dig, and like not like we've seen so many Knicks this year, like reach as like that, like reach as in bad defense. Like that, we know when reaching is bad defense. Hart doesn't do that shit. When Hart reaches in, it's usually smart and well placed, and it's going to lead to good stuff. Anyway, rest of Joseph's comment. I feel like he's actually going to be a great role model for the young guys. 2 or 3 from 3. That's another way to look at it. And like, I have a feeling some people are going to maybe have a tough time looking at it that way, but that he is. Like, he should be a role model. He's a good player. He should be able to teach a kid in Quentin Grimes, who is in his second year, how to be better. Even Quickly. Like, we take Quickly for granted because he's so freaking amazing. But he could still afford to learn some things. Great call, Joseph. Great call. And sorry, one more thing for the next comment. This situation right here, and there's some good and some bad. Again, you got Obi doesn't look really happy, and they probably should have moved him. We'll see what happens with the other guys, how some of the other guys react. This is a test, for me at least, of organizational culture. Can you bring in a talented guy with the understanding, no one's trying to hide this, with the understanding that like there are individual interests at play here. Emmanuel Quickly is about to negotiate a new contract. Quentin Grimes trying to establish his footing in the league. Deuce McBride trying to get his freaking feet on the court and stay there. Obi Toppin trying to, I don't want to say save his career, but like, a lot of individual interests at RJ Barrett. We haven't even mentioned RJ Barrett. A lot of individual interests at play. Is your culture strong enough to keep not only everybody on focused and on the same page, but like genuinely invested in the team? And like they were tonight, despite the fact that they were a little sloppy. Tibbs, it's all about the team, which you love, but at the same time, in terms of managing personalities and like, calming the fears perhaps of certain players who feel like, oh, what's going on with my role here? that he has not always been the best coach. He's been a bad coach when it comes to that shit. So I really do feel like the role model thing, like this is a test. This is a really important moment for this franchise. And I hope that they are cognizant of that moving forward. And they're not just like, okay, great. We checked off another box. We got Josh Hart. Let's try to win some games. Let's get to the summer, and then we'll worry about it then, and we'll ship out whoever we need to ship out. I hope there's more of a deft touch here, and that includes the coach. And I'm worried about that. I'm going to be straight. I'm worried about that. Sorry to go on and on about that, but this is like, really do feel like this is kind of a pivotal moment. Could be great, could be not good at all. Thanks again, Joseph. Now, next comment. Ahmed Nuruddin. Hart is an older version of Grimes. 3 glue guy now. Yeah, I mean, different sort of player. I think Grimes, quite frankly, has a higher ceiling because of the shooting. And he just needs to improve. He needs to get better. Josh Hart, 30th pick in the draft. Quentin Grimes, 25th pick in the draft. You can find guys late. For sure. Thanks, Ahmed. Mars Paskov. Not to be dramatic, but Hart needs to never play for another team for the rest of his career. I love it. Absolutely. Please. I could see him retire. I mean, listen. This franchise could use a couple of freaking guys who were here for a while. You know, like I'm writing something about Julius Randle for a newsletter over the All-Star break, and like, he's really getting up there in the franchise's scoring rankings, and then you just look up and down, it's like there's just so few players over the last 20 years who have had any sort of longevity here. And that's why I think if you're impassioned about the futures and longevity and development and all of these things about guys like Emmanuel Quickley and Quentin Grimes, I don't blame you. At the same time, there's no reason that Josh Hart can't be here for a very long time too and can't establish himself. We've seen other players come here midway through their careers and, feel like they were a Knick for life. We've seen that happen before if they're the right sort of player. Why can't Josh Hart be that player? Thanks, Mars. Especially since he wants to be here. Manny Campos, inject more Josh Hart hustle into my veins. The other thing I think this was pointed out on the Substack chat, you play harder, I think, if you're out there with that sort of guy, right? Like if that dude's flying around and like laying out on the whole thing and getting his ass in there for every rebound, like doesn't it make you want to play harder? I would think so. Thanks, Manny. All about injecting it. Busy. Best distribution of Hart court awareness. Best distribution of Hart. I'm not sure what you mean by best distribution of Hart. I think you mean like that's his best quality is his court awareness. I'll co-sign that. Yeah. I mean, he has great court awareness on both ends of the floor. Knows where he is at all times, knows where everybody else is at all times. He's like Quickley in that way. Again, really a lot of similarities between those two players, for as different as they are. Thanks, Busy. Always appreciate you, man. Yeah, Lee, what's going on? Yeah. If Hart played 48 minutes a game, I wouldn't be mad. I love all the Hart love today. This is great. In all seriousness, I'm truly not sure if Tibbs will ever take him out of the game. He's going to play a lot. I mean, this was his first game with the freaking team, and he played 27 minutes. I mean, 26 minutes. Excuse me. And he makes this sort of impact routinely, too. I mean, the rebounds are what the rebounds are. The offensive rebounds are what the offensive rebounds are. And you feel those offensive rebounds, if you're the other team and you're discouraged by it. Think about when we played them and this guy got 19 rebounds. 6'4" dude getting 19 rebounds. You know how demoralizing that is? And then when he's getting his hand in passing lanes and everything, it's good stuff. Thanks, you. Appreciate it, man. Hush Zoo, what's going on, man? What a debut from Hart. You can obviously tell He is a clear Tibbs favorite. Brings some invaluable stuff. Knicks are a piece away. I agree. The Knicks are a piece away. Yeah. I think they're a piece away, but man, you know what we haven't revisited in a while, and I would like to revisit? Going into this season, everybody who was like, and I don't want, this is going to sound like I'm retroactively, we should have done the Donovan Mitchell trade. Not saying that, to be very clear, but the conversation was, good job by the Knicks not trading for Donovan Mitchell. They have no stars. He's not the 1A star that's going to get you there. You would have had to give up too much for him. You wouldn't have had enough left over for the other star. Could we end that fucking conversation? Can that conversation be over? Like, say what you want about Randall. Look, he's an imperfect player. We get it. We watch him every night. You don't have to tell us. We know. That dude's like, he's just really good. And if you could figure out a way to mitigate and minimize his weaknesses, which they've done a good job for the most part of doing this year, especially in late game situations, has not reared its ugly head as much as it did earlier in this year. His deficiencies there. His boneheaded plays, less and less and less and less. For the most part. Jalen Brunson. I mean, what more do you need to see that this guy could be the starting point guard in a championship level team if you give him the right number one next to him? You know? Like, I want that conversation to be over. I'm not saying they're one trade away. Like, it has to be a very particular trade. You know, we'll see what this summer brings, because I don't think that one guy, the right guy, the guy that turns them into a contender, I don't think that guy is going to be available this summer. But hey, you never know. You never know. There's a tweet from Timmy Bontemps. That's great. Jalen Brunson, on if he's garnered any motivation from missing the All-Star game. No. Inject that right into my veins. Next up, Dom Cappuccini, what's going on, my friend? I have a feeling Hart will be well worth the first. I think so, too. Just 2 more games for Mitch. Can't wait. Hopefully. We'll see. Someone get JB in the All-Star game. I mean, I don't know what other injury we're counting on. I mean, I don't want to. Like, it really does. It forces you to sit here and be like, can someone else get hurt? Now, LeBron James didn't play tonight. I'm watching the game right now. He's not playing. It's Saturday. The All-Star game is Sunday. Like, if his foot is really bothering him. Now, and also, by the way, they already made it very clear. The West-East thing, like, we're just going to, I think they're just taking whoever they think they should take. So maybe if LeBron's out, maybe an East player gets in instead. Maybe it could be Brunson. I don't know. The league's not telling us what the rules are, unfortunately. But yeah, I think Josh Hart's going to be worth what they paid to get him. By the way, shout out to Sam Vecini of The Athletic, who has criticized the Knicks a lot over the years, wrote a very nice piece for The Athletic in which he praised the Josh Hart trade up and down. And I would encourage everybody to go read that. Shout out to Sam Vecini. Matt, Aussie Knicks fan. It's not Valentine's Day yet, but I know who has my heart. Comment of the night, Matt. Good job by you. I love it. That's great. My wife is going to be very upset when I tell her I gave her Valentine's Day present to Josh Hart. Kevin Danishevsky, I heart Hart. I don't think we win that game without him. We do not win that game without him. His role is going to be interesting moving forward. Jalen Brunson needs to be in Utah. Good Randall. Okay, Randall. I don't know how we get Jalen Brunson to Utah, man. For the All-Star game. Nobody wants to trade Jalen Brunson. to Utah, to be clear. Bernard Richardson, the vibes are immaculate tonight. I'm glad. I wasn't sure how the vibes are going to be because that game was a messy game. It was a messy game, and I wasn't sure how hung up people were going to be on, you trade for a guy and he's closing the game, and Quickly's not closing the game, and Grimes not closing. I'm happy people seem to be level-headed tonight, which is nice. It's always a plus. Thank you, Bernard. I appreciate it. Although I'm not in the chat, so maybe I'm overstating it. David Crockett, my friend. What's going on, Dave? Josh Hart to Harlow and fans. I'm a dog. Woof. Love to see it. D-A-W-G. You misspelled that, David. Disappointed in you as an educator of minds to misspell dog. Good to hear from you, my man. Hope all's well. Busy with best description of Hart is court awareness. See what you did there. Thank you for the clarification. Greg Moran, what's going on, Greg? Thank you for the generous contribution. J. Hart and J.B. Hart. Re-sign Hart for life. Winning basketball is fun. Well, this is amazing. There's not really much for me to do here because I'm sitting here. I'm just reading all the praise for Josh Hart. I feel like I should kind of spotlight some more of the plays that he made that were just awesome plays. How about this one? So if you want to pinpoint one play that was maybe the play that was the nail in the coffin, could you go back to, it was one, well, not nail in the coffin, but it was a back and forth game up until this point, and then after this play, the Utah never got within 2 possessions until it was way late in the game. So I actually think you could argue that this was the play of the game because it was really back and forth before this. 3:46 left in the fourth quarter. Randall ISO'd, not a great Randall possession, but he ended up getting a 5-foot shot. It was a decent look, wasn't a great look. Took the shot. Hardenstein got the offensive rebound. Markkanen blocked it. Guess who got the offensive rebound there? Josh Hart immediately sees RJ Barrett in the corner, passes it to RJ in the corner. RJ hits the shot to put the Knicks up 6 with, again, 3:46 left. And then, I think that the Knicks not coasted from there, still had to sweat it out, but that was the one that gave them some breathing room. That doesn't happen without Josh Hart. Incredible play. Thanks, Greg. Jesse M. Onions. John, onions. I hope I did that impersonation justice. One of my favorite calls in professional sports. Josh Hart's got all the onions in the world, man. Him and Jalen Brunson. Talk about some Sam Cassell size onions. Yes. And one other thing. We talk again and again and again and again down the stretch of games. Above the neck plays. Who's going to think at the highest level at the end of games? We got another guy that thinks the game at a very high level and does not get nervous at the end of games. Who's been in big games and again, won a national championship along with Jalen Brunson. So important there. In addition to the onions and brains, great combo. Thanks, Jesse. Jessica, what's going on, Jessica? Jessica, I appreciate you not cursing. Appreciate you not cursing with the asterisk there. Josh effing Hart. That's it. That's the super chat. Wowee. The guy for 3 bench warmers. This guy for 3 bench warmers. What a steal. Let's go, Knicks. Yeah, look. Let's talk about the trade for a half a second because it's been brought up now a couple times tonight. If you make the playoffs, you give up a first-round pick. Mid-first-round pick. It's a valuable asset. It's not an insignificant asset. Could be the 15th pick in the draft for all we know. Might be 15, might be 16, might be 17. Something, maybe 18, something in that range. It also might be 20 or 21, 22. But again, Quentin Grimes, 25th pick. Manuel Quickly, 25th pick. Josh Hart, 30th pick. Like, you could get good players there. If you're a good team and you draft well, you get good players there. You just have to pick and choose as an organization how and when you are going to expend your assets. And at the very least, you can respect their decision. You may not agree with it, but you could respect their decision and you could see an outcome where their decision to expend this first round pick on Josh Hart makes them better in the long run. That satisfies not only present organizational goals, but long-term organizational goals. And that is the key. Do they need to do other things? First of all, re-signing Josh Hart in the offseason to make sure that it was a sound move for the short and the long term? Absolutely. So this trade really, honestly, probably won't be judged for a while. But for a variety of reasons, I think it's very defensible. And let's not forget, they still do have a pick in the first round from the Mavs. Kenny Rose. But, oh my God. I'm going to read this comment and then I'll go back to my thought that no one wants to hear. Kenny Rose. Wow. Winning player. Hustle player. Josh Hart. Yes. Kenny Rose. Thank you. One more thought. No one wants to hear this right now because the vibes are awesome. But how wild would it be if I guess the Knicks would have to be the 7-8, and then the Wizards would have to be the 8-9 winner. So the Knicks would have to be the 7-8 loser, and the Wizards would have to be the 8-9 winner. Or I suppose the other way around, if the Knicks like free fall, the Knicks could be the not 8-9, 9-10, 9-10, 9-10 winner, and the Wizards could be the 7-8 loser. There is a situation that could transpire. I'm just saying, where if the Knicks win their play-in game, and again, if it was the winner-loser play-in game, if they won their play-in game, they get one first-round pick from the Mavs, and if they lose their play-in game to the Wizards, they get 3 first-round picks because they keep their own. They get the Wizards because the Wizards is lottery protected, and they get the Mavs probably, I'm assuming, because the Mavs I think are going to be not in the bottom 10. That is wild that there is a scenario that is not unrealistic in which 2 first-round picks for the same team could be on the table based on what happens in one game. That would be wild. And every single one of us would be like, win the fucking game. Maybe not every single one of us. I would be saying win the game. Thanks, Jessica. I'm sorry I just went on that diatribe. That's the first time that thought occurred to me until right now. Anthony Strano. Josh effing Hart, baby. You got a blue heart there. I like that. Nice blue heart. Looks good in a Knicks uniform, too. Josh Hart does. Jesse M. Quick, we need some Hart puns. For a guy who writes every day, I'm not good with the puns. The best puns that I know are the ones that I heard in the last episode. Not the one, I think it got released 2 nights or last night. I haven't watched it yet, so don't spoil it for me. But the Last of Us from last weekend. For anybody who doesn't watch the show, there's a teenage girl on the show who in a post-apocalyptic world picks up a book of puns. Some good puns in that episode. None involving Hart. I'll try to get some before the next post game. I'll try. Thanks, Jesse. Kevin Wilson. Is it too early to hang Josh Hart's number from the rafters? This is the most uniform, like universally, we're going to praise this guy post game we've had since I don't even know when. It's been a while. I don't even know if we've had a post game this year for like Brunson that has been like this. That would be the guy, right? It has been this like universally, like everything's about Brunson, all positive, all Brunson all the time. It's been a while, man. This is great. I love it. Josh Hart. If anybody watching out there, like knows someone who knows Josh Hart's agent, who's also president of the Knicks. I think he's repped by he's repped by Julius's agents, right? Two of the three of Julius's agents. If anybody out there knows someone who might know those guys, I've never asked this, but like, send them this link and be like, hey, do you want to hear your client get universally praised for an hour straight? Talk about gassing a guy up. That would be good. Anyway, thanks, Kev. Appreciate it. Steven Schiame survived the Jordan Horton Tucker game. I think it's Jalen Horton, but I see what you're doing there. Hart fits in just fine on this team. Yeah, man. Watching Horton Tucker tonight, I was reminded of remember when he was on the Lakers and all the Laker fans were like, Jalen Horton Tucker's RJ Barrett. He was drafted later. And I'm not going to say anything else about that. Thanks, Stevens. Yeah, Hart fits in just fine. Jesse with another one. Jeremy with the tweet of the night, by the way. Well, now I got to go look for Jeremy's tweet. Stop the live stream. Go into my Twitter. I'm going to find... I should have Jeremy. I don't know why I don't have Jeremy on notifications. I think he tweets too much. Yes. Josh Hart was credited with 4 steals tonight, but the box score won't show Hart's 5th steal. My heart. Very true. Well done. Thank you, Jesse. Mike Farinello wanted the Knicks to pull off a Kyle O'Quinn-esque sign-and trade instead of signing Fournier a few years ago. I'm glad he's here now. For Hart. Well, I believe there was reporting from... I don't want to fuck this up. I think it was from Steph Bondy. Might have been... Oh, man, I think it was Steph. Might have been Ian. Might have been Fred. I think it was Steph who said that Tibbs was in favor of acquiring Hart, I think, last summer. So if you're talking about with the Fournier summer, I think that would check out. Maybe it was referencing this summer, but I believe it was referencing the summer when they signed Fournier. So I think Tibbs was angling for that then. And again, I apologize. I hope I got it right with Bondy, but it was one of the beat guys recently reported that. So, hey, listen, they got him. That's all that matters. And it looks like the Fournier contract's not going to kill him, So that's good. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Jeff Smith. Mitch would have helped tonight. Yes, he would have. Love in the air. It's so fitting. Valentine's Day is 2 days away or 3 days away. By the way, this is what any young folks out there, our bi-weekly birth control announcement. My wife and I love each other madly. We're not doing shit for Valentine's Day. Why? Because we have 2 kids. Don't have kids until you're 30. Yes, Benji, I'm talking about you. You fucked up. Enjoy your Valentine's Day. Go out, drink, do whatever it is you do after you go have a nice meal, a couple of cocktails. Enjoy it. I know it's like a Hallmark holiday. Enjoy it, because there's going to be a day we're going to be like, man, I'd love to go have a wonderful romantic evening with my significant other. And then, boom, shit in a diaper. It's not what you want. I love my children. Next comment. Thank you, Jeff Smith, for inspiring that diatribe. And C. Jay Hart has won over the fans and even Clyde already. It wasn't going to take much to win over Clyde, man. Natural. Absolute natural. How do you not love Josh Hart? Fantastic. S. Gill. I think I got that right. Josh Hart rocks number 3, and I'm here for it. Give me John Starks vibe and hustle. It just hit me. It just hit me that he got number 3. That's big. I know other players have had number 3 since Starks, but like, what? No. I was going to say, I wonder if the franchise ever gave serious consideration to retiring Stark's number, and I don't think they did, and I'm not sure they should have. But I was revisiting my all-time Knicks franchise rankings today, or because I, again, writing something about Randall for the All-Star break. I think they have they're stingy with the retired numbers, and I feel like that's right. I think Melo should go up on the rafters when he's retired, but I think it's okay that number 3 is available for Josh Hart. And yes, they should retire it when he retires a Knick and wins many championships. Thanks, Eskil. Appreciate it. Carolina Knicks fan. Look at Hart's face on the last 3. Dude is truly basking in the gardens. Cheers. Well-deserved. Good win tonight. We talk about it all the time, that there are players who could play in this city and there are players who can't play in the city. I mean, I know this is a Josh Hart comment, but like, can we stop and recognize the fact that like some of the greatest players in sports history have come to this city with all the fanfare in the world? I mean, Randy Johnson's the first one that comes to mind, but God knows there are many other Yankees, because the pinstripes are the what is it? The heaviest uniform in sports? I forget what the phrase is, but whatever it is. But not just that, like lots of players, lots of Knicks, lots of guys who put on the Knicks uniform come here and just, pooped all over themselves. Jalen Brunson comes here, signs a $100 million contract that everybody says is an overpay, and performs like an all-star. Brightest lights in sports, performs like an all-star. You either are built for this stage or you're not built for this stage. And it's kind of cool that the 2 Villanova teammates, old school Big East school, the whole thing. You want to talk about built for this? There's your built for this. Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson, for sure. Thanks, Carolina Knicks fan. Hush Zoo with another one. Can't wait for Mitch and Hart to share the floor. How is that going to look? Because I guess you want to talk about the offensive rebounding, right? The offensive rebound is going to be big. Hart does a good job getting to the basket. He's very good around the basket. He converts around the basket often. And when he doesn't convert around the basket, he usually draws the attention of the center, which is going to open opportunities for Mitch to get offensive rebounds. That's going to be really good. Defensively, I mean, we haven't talked about it yet, really, but like, think about the defensive units that this team is going to be able to put on the floor. They don't have that perfect 4, the big wing, like the OG Anunoby guy, right? They don't have that guy, but man, like, they could put out, for instance, I don't know if we're going to see it. Probably we won't see it without injury, and I don't wish injury on this team, but like Deuce McBride, Emmanuel, or actually, sorry, take a step back. Emmanuel Quickly, Quentin Grimes, Josh Hart, Mitch is the backdrop. How about them apples? How you scoring on that team? A little small. Quickly, Grimes, Hart, all of them are 6'5" or under. And then Mitch as the backdrop. Still, though, that's a lot of defensive intensity there. Thanks, Hush. Appreciate that. Kevin Danishevsky with another one. Sorry for your loss to JC. Hashtag should have had faith. Should have had faith. I've said something in the live stream that I've already forgotten about because I have no idea what this is referencing. That's a bad job by me. Again, this is what happens when you get old. It sucks. Don't get old. Kevin, stay young forever. Next up, Dan Hidalgo. Scary hours defense when Mitch returns. You got that right. Oh, interesting. Reggie Jackson to the Nuggets after he gets bought out by the Hornets. You know what? I like that for them. That's a dude that's played in some big fucking games. Good job by Denver. That's a meaningful move by Denver. That gives me a little bit more confidence that they may be actually able to make good on this 1 seed. Reggie Jackson in 15 minutes a game will help them. He will help them. Sorry. Dom Cappuccini, thank you for the generous contribution. 12 games ago, we were all worried that New York would struggle to 30 wins without Big Mitch. I guess our surprising top 10 offense should deserve a lot of credit in staying afloat. Man, why do y'all always bait me into making a Tibbs comment? You're not baiting me. This is what Andrew's speech to me was the other day. You have to be like, all the comments are not about Tibbs, good or bad, right? I have a problem. First step is admitting you have a problem. I admit. But like, to me, you had this team that we all said coming into the season, it's clunky. Everybody wants the ball inside the arc. There's not enough shooting. The spacing is gonna be a mess. Like I wrote a freaking preseason article about, they should start Isaiah Hartenstein. Oh boy, wow. Thank you to all my newsletter subscribers for not canceling after that one. Like, this team is 8th in offense. They're 0.2 points per 100 possessions behind the Sixers and the Mavs, who are 6th and 7th. You know, they're tied. They're in a virtual tie with the Brooklyn Nets in offensive rating rankings. Like, the fact that this team has figured out how to generate solid offense consistently, and they're still not a good team in terms of shooting, I'm not going to make it about Tibbs. The entire coaching staff deserves credit for putting these guys in places where they can be successful and building a functional offense where, like, I know that there are stretches of every game, and God knows we had that stretch tonight, end of the second quarter, beginning first several minutes of the third quarter, where it's like, what the fuck is this team doing on offense in particular? We have those stretches every game, but it's like, it's usually 5-6 minutes a game. It's not 45 minutes a game, which we've had in years past, or, like, to be fairer, like half the game or things of that nature. They are in 3-point percentage this season, 24th, and they're 8th in offense. Good job by them. Thanks, Dom. Hamdy M. Wake up, Obi. Enough already. Can't blame coaching anymore. We need better defense and some hustle plays. Sorry, I'm usually positive. Look, I want to give Obi a pass. I want to give Obi a pass for all the reasons that we always talk about with Obi. Usage and all the things. That dude has been so freaking positive. Unequivocally positive. Now, there is a subset of fans that are led by... I'm not going to finish that sentence. There is a subset of fans who latch on to this Obi thing as like this coach is awful and to a much lesser extent this front office is awful because of what has happened to Obi Toppin, this great travesty that has happened to Obi Toppin. And to that extent, Hamdy, I agree with you that like we need to at least acknowledge that there always has to be some modicum of responsibility on the player. That said, I am happy to put less responsibility on this player in this circumstance, especially after this trade deadline, when I have to think he thought he was getting shipped out of here. And he's still here, and he's sitting 9 minutes a game, and he's not getting the ball. And it's like, I'm going to give him as much of a pass in the world as I could possibly give. I still don't think it's a travesty that some people think it is. I'm happy to be on that island, but yeah. Thanks, Andy. David Danito, thank you for the very generous contribution, David. I think this is the first time super chat from you. Shout out Ian and Abby. Sitting next to two Knicks Film School fans with my wife, Erin, made our night. Great win. Heart making an immediate impact. Knicks Film School brings Knicks fans together. So, oh my goodness. This is from the other night. The Ian bringing Abby into the fold of Knicks fandom. And I yelled at him. I said, how could you do this to this wonderful, wonderful young woman? And now apparently the whole family's involved. Knicks fandom. It's like the cordyceps or whatever it is in The Last of Us. You get near these motherfuckers and get all up in you. But hey, listen. The way things are going this season, maybe you'll be happy that you got infected. It's not the worst thing in the world. Despite what opinions may be about me getting up here and talking every night. Thank you so much for that very, very generous contribution. And I'm glad you got to watch the game together, and I'm glad you're digging it. Thank you. Connor. One, I can't wait to see this team with Mitch. I'm glad we're getting a lot of Mitch love tonight because I can't wait to see him either. Two, not sure I want him. Oh, here it comes. But when Minnesota has to part with Karl-Anthony Towns to make way for Ant and Rose lusts after him, what is the Knicks' realistic trade package? Oh God, you're gonna do this to me 11:12 p.m. on a Saturday night? You really gonna do this to me, Connor? You're really gonna do this to me, Connor? Okay. Mitchell Robinson is not coming off the bench. That's not going to happen. I do not believe for a second that Tom Thibodeau believes. Well, again, I don't even know if Tom Thibodeau is going to be the coach of that team if they trade for Karl-Anthony Towns. So neither here nor there. I think the whole idea of playing Karl-Anthony Towns at the 4 was insane. Maybe not insane, but like, I don't love that idea. I think Karl-Anthony Towns, if you're either going to figure out a way to win with him playing center, or you're just not going to win. And sitting here right now, I don't know if you could win with him as center. You may not be able to, but I like your chances of that more than I do your chances of playing him at the freaking 4, which I just, for the life of me, I'm sorry, I don't see. That's me. You may disagree. So I go through that diatribe because I think it's a trade involving Mitch has to go somewhere, and they have to get some value for Mitch. I don't know where that is, but it's a third team. So you're getting value for Mitch, whether it's a first-round pick or something, and then that goes to Minnesota. Okay. What else is going to Minnesota? I would assume that they would ask for between Randall and RJ. I would assume both Minnesota and the Knicks would skew towards wanting RJ to be in that package. I would assume. I don't know. Maybe Minnesota wants Randall. And maybe the Knicks look at that and be like, well, if you're taking our 2-time All-Star, well, then you're not getting as much back in terms of picks. Now, would the Knicks, run by the former head of CAA basketball, send their 2-time All-Star, who was a CAA client, to Minnesota? I'll believe that when I see it. So I think it will be RJ. Mitch's outgoing salary. So that's actually enough money for Karl-Anthony Towns right there. And then maybe whoever you're trade Mitch to divert some salary to Minnesota. And then you're probably looking at, now that Hart is here, I don't want to say this because I want both of these guys to be here for a long time, but you're probably looking at one of Quickly and Grimes. In a perfect world, I think it would be RJ, Obi, and picks. And I don't know what the pick package is. I'm sure Minnesota would ask for a lot, and I have a feeling the Knicks would give a lot. But who knows? Maybe you could get away with 3 of the protecteds and 2 unprotecteds. plus RJ plus Obi. Might be a little wishful thinking there on my part. Because you're also sending out Mitch, and I also have you getting a first from another team that's getting Mitch. So maybe no, they're not getting Karl Anthony Towns and only giving up one unprotected pick of their own. I don't know. That's where the negotiations come in, but you get the gist of it. I hope that gives you enough of a gist. Again, it's 11:16 on a Saturday night. My brain's can't be doing Karl Anthony Towns trade packages right now. But I that's kind of the best I got. Thanks, Connor. Busy with another one. What's going on, Busy? I have resigned myself. Oh no, I hate when Busy resigns himself. I don't want you to resign yourself, Busy. To the fact that players who pound the ball is just not my cup of tea. Oh, I actually appreciate that. Having three of those guys slows the passing down, missing wide open teammates for that reason. One of them has to go. Is Brunson a guy who pounds the ball? I'm asking not because I think he is, and I'm asking it rhetorically. I'm genuinely asking. Is Brunson a guy who pounds the ball? I think the obvious answer is yes. For a point guard, he's a guy who pounds the ball. But I wonder how that looks, and I wonder how different that would be if the construction of the team was different and there was another guy on the team, maybe a Karl Anthony Towns, who is just like a gravitational offensive force that the Knicks don't really have right now. I feel like that's a little unfair to Brunson. I don't know. I'm not disagreeing with you, Busy, but I feel like that's worthy of a longer conversation. And I don't think you're wrong, but I don't know. When I think of Brunson, I don't we've seen ball stoppers. Like Julius Randle's a ball stopper. I think Jalen Brunson. I don't want to tag. I don't want to give Jalen Brunson that tag. That's just me though. Thanks, Busy. I think that was good. Glad we did that. Dan Hidalgo, does Hart move us one star away from contention? I've been saying this. Yes. Again, I don't know who that star is. Karl Anthony Towns, man, that dude's really talented, but you gonna build a championship defense around Karl Anthony Towns, Julius Randle, and Jalen Brunson? Come on. Or for that matter, Zach LaVine, Jalen Brunson, and Julius Randle. No. That, you're not selling me on that. Towns, man, I don't know. But who knows? Maybe someone else shakes out. It's the NBA, man. Freaking crazy shit happens all the time. Who knows who's going to ask out this summer? Now, will that player be like a perfect two-way way? Like, I keep going back to it, man. Put the crazy dream fantasy things aside, like Embiid would be a fantasy. Paul George. You put Paul George on this team, or Kawhi Leonard for that matter, but I think Paul George is the more likely one. Put Paul George on this team between Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson with this core. I go to war with that team. Thanks, Dan. Busy with another one. I used to say trade Julius Randle because the easy replacement was just put Obi in his place. But now that we have Hart, you stole my thunder, man. That's what I opened the show with. Kind of implying. I don't want to say it out loud. I don't want to say the quiet part out loud. But Hart is just now, in fairness, I think, and again, shout out to Benji because Benji is just eminently smarter at this basketball stuff than I am. Raised the question in our group text earlier, just like questioning, is Josh Hart a starter on a title team? Can you have an undersized wing, and he's undersized. I know he plays big, but he's still 6'4". An undersized wing who's not a good shooter. Can you have that guy as a starting player? It does not create. I mean, I know we created a little bit last year in Portland. He averaged 19 points or 20 points a game after he got traded to Portland. He could back a guy down. He could do some things with the ball, but you don't want him creating for you in a big playoff game. Can you have that guy be a starter on a title team? I don't know. I think I still see Grimes, who is also undersized, but brings the shooting component, as maybe the more likely supporting piece to grow into that. And then, is it Mitch or is it a center replacing Mitch? That has to do with it. Or are you getting a wing? Are you keeping Mitch? They're all interesting conversations. I don't know. And the tough part is that they're, beggars can't be choosers. So when that star trade becomes available to them, what are the odds that they're going to be like, oh, this is not the perfect one for us? Probably not. So we'll see. This is all up in the air right now. Who knows? Maybe RJ Barrett's back. Maybe they trade Randall. Crazier things have happened. It's wild that we're talking about RJ Barrett, or I'm talking about RJ Barrett like this. Thanks, Busy. Appreciate it, man. Jay, how'd Cam play last night? Meaningful minutes. Oh, Jay, you were on last night. Oh, I guess Jay's going to be the guy who's going to remind me about Cam for the next 18 years that I do this. I think I said, in fairness to me, I think I specified on the original live stream that, like, meaningful moment was not like he was never going to score another point in a game that mattered, but like I didn't see him as a guy who's going to be a meaningful difference maker in a playoff game. And I'll stand by that. I don't see him as a guy who's going to be a meaningful difference maker in a playoff game for a team that's actually really competing for something. That's my opinion. But listen, Jay, again, you are what is right with sports fandom. Your love for Cam Reddish is, if I had a Valentine's Day card here, I would write it out and I would say, Dear Jay, happy Valentine's Day. Love Cam. I hope Cam wouldn't mind me signing for him. Thank you for the contribution. Busy with another one. I could accept RJ for who he is on offense if he would just play defense like we know he can. Yes. Any day of the week and twice on Sunday, Busy. Yes. If he made his presence felt on defense in a more meaningful way. Yes. To say nothing of like just general consistency on the defensive end. Thank you, Busy. Haitian Ferg, what's going on, man? Good to hear from you, bud. Thank you for the generous contribution. Jay Hart creates flexibility. It doesn't matter who starts. Tibbs benched Grimes in the fourth, and it worked. Again, Grimes is in a little bit of a slump. He'll be fine. Hart will take Deuce's minutes, and whoever else isn't having a good game that night, he might even start. Let's go, Knicks. I would not be surprised if we're looking at Josh Hart starting next season. Would not shock me. Look, I've said this before, no sacred cows. No sacred cows, but like, yes, you close with your best players for that night. But you gotta, like, as long as they keep, like, to make just in no uncertain terms, Quentin Grimes and Emmanuel Quickley are too instrumental to the future of this team, whether they be as players on this team for the next 10 years or as guys that they were going to trade this summer. And I hope it's not that. They're too instrumental. Those guys need to continue to be meaningful, big time minutes getters, contributors to the offense, get their touches, get their shots, get their opportunities to make things happen throughout the rest of the season. I don't worry about that because they're both good, even if Grimes is in a bit of a shooting slump right now. They're both good. Tibbs plays good players. So I think he'll play those two players. Thanks, Haitian. Appreciate it, man. Juanon, what's going on? Juanon, great to hear from you. Great win. Tibbs didn't wait an eternity to get Josh Hart so he can put the kid on the bench at the end of the game. And Emmanuel Quickley, Grimes, Hart, Mitch, and whoever lineup will be fun to watch when we are healthy. I haven't done this one in a while. Who's my favorite Knick lineup? Hart, Mitch, Quick, Brunson, Randall. It's got to be. I think that lineup's going to close. Might close some games every now and then. Just throwing that out there. Thanks, Juanon. Frank Miranda, Areas, the man, the myth, the legend. What's up, Frank? It's your boy. Or what's up, Mac? It's your boy, Frank from Patreon. Josh Hart will be a staple in closing lineups. This guy's active and doesn't need the ball to be effective. RJ and one of Grimes or Emmanuel Quickly will be packaged this summer. Book it. Grimes, I think, Grimes is going to have more value than Quickly, because I think more teams will have an easier time seeing Grimes as a plug-and-play 25, 30-minute-a-night guy on their team, regardless of what their team is built like. And he's a year further away from getting paid. So of the two, and also, like, in terms of, like, Quickly could be your backup point guard, right? He is your backup point guard right now, actually. Grimes is not that. So of the two, could I see them skewing more towards Grimes as the piece to go with RJ? Now, I would love it if neither of them needs to go out with RJ. And I hate that I do this. Genuinely, I mean that. I hate that I do this where I'm sending RJ out of town. Maybe he doesn't have to get traded. Just trying to read the tea leaves here. But that's what Frank thinks will happen. So, Frank, I'm not going to be the one to tell you you're wrong. We'll see what happens. AMDM, do you think RJ views success as only scoring? I think if you're just watching the games this year and you were going only on what we witnessed on the basketball court, I think you would view RJ as a player who is focused on scoring more than he is focused on other parts of the game. I do not believe that he is a player who, like, doesn't realize that he needs to do more or doesn't care about doing more. I think he's a 22-year-old, again, I'll say it, kid who is working it out. And I have all the sympathy in the world for him, completely. And he's going to figure out, and when he figures it out fully, he's going to be really good, which is why, again, the notion that they're just going to put him in some trade this summer as, like, fucking salary is crazy to me. They're not. I don't think they'll do that. I don't think they'll value him that way. He's going to be good. He's going to figure it out. I don't know what his ceiling is. I don't know what his floor is, but RJ is going to be good. He's good now sometimes. He's just in his own head. And you saw it even in the third quarter. He was good the third quarter. And he keeps making nice passes occasionally. It's like, it's in there. It's in there. It's in there. Let's try to stay positive on RJ. Thanks, Andy. Ian Livernoche. What's going on, Ian Livernoche? Thank you for the generous contribution. Shout out to Aaron and Dave. Oh, my goodness gracious. For making my girlfriend's first Knicks game at MSG special. She definitely one fan of the game. Ian, I'm so happy for you and the whole crew. Truly. I'm glad you got to see this game in person. It was a good game to see in person. You will be able to tell your grandkids, perhaps grandkids that you have, with your current significant other, about that you saw Josh Hart's first game at MSG. Good stuff. Thanks, Ian. Danny Gardner, don't overreact to individual game minutes played. There will be nights where Hart, RJ, IQ, and Quentin Grimes play more or less. Hart and RJ earned their minutes in the fourth quarter. The only pushback I'll have is I think on balance, Quickly he was the better player on the from minute 1 to minute 48. I think Emmanuel Quickly was the better player than RJ tonight. I think RJ was the better choice to be on the floor in the fourth quarter. And RJ had a good second half. And that plays into it, and it should have played into it. And quickly did all of his damage, or almost all of his damage, on the offensive end at least, in the first half. And so you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I did want to just add that little bit. And I agree, we should not overreact to individual game minutes played. I just know, I wanted to try to get out ahead of it because I know that is often what it comes down to in these post games, and that's what we end up talking about. So, yeah. Thanks, Danny. As always, great stuff by you. I will spit out my drink. Kevin Nenishevsky, where does Hart rank in your updated hashtag New York Knicks 75? He'll be on the list pretty. I mean, look, Jeremy Lin made the list. And he played how many games here? What did he play? 20-something games, 30 games? Now that was a little unique. I think I didn't end up putting him on the list. I almost put Marcus Morris. I looked at Marcus Morris. I was like, is Marcus Morris one of the 75 greatest Knicks of all time for playing 40 games here in a completely and totally forgettable season? He did not end up making it. But, when you get down past, the 50s and maybe some of the 60s, there's some room for new entrants. So, Josh Hart, I'll say this. Josh Hart's not going to have to be here for very long to make his way onto that list. If the Knicks have success while he's here. That's the key. If the Knicks have success while he's here. Thanks, Kev. Busy with another one. Busy, you're too kind, man. Seriously, I thank you. Every position needs a backup so that a player can rest. If you choose to run your starters into the ground on the second night of a back-to-back and play the backup only 9 minutes, the front office isn't to blame for that. Hashtag fair. No, the front office is not to blame for that. How do I respond to this? It is Obi Toppin, over the course of his time with the Knicks, for a lot of that time, has brought something very special and very unique and very energetic and necessary. And it was something the Knicks didn't have. And it was important. And it led to wins. And his plus-minus last year was not an accident. It was not an aberration. It was a real thing, as was his improvement over the course of the year, culminating in him becoming a legitimate offensive force, specifically because of his three-point shooting towards the end of the year. And when you combine that with the transition play and, just general energy and activity level, that's all real, and that has all happened. That is not happening during his minutes right now. And his shortcomings are more magnified because that is not happening right now, the things I just mentioned. The fault of that, for those things not happening right now, is where the conversation should be. And my only pushback is that it is not 100% on the coach. It is mostly on the coach. It is maybe close to being all on the coach. It is not all on the coach. There are other things at play here, other decisions that have been made, including the front office from day one saying, we are going to construct this roster in a way that fits this coach's vision. And we are going to continue to make signings and re-signings that fit this coach's vision. If they ever felt as strongly about Obi Toppin as some people do, they would not have given in to that extent, especially last year when they had the chance to get rid of one guy and also, by the way, get rid of the guy who is in front of Obi Toppin right now and Julius Randle. They did not go that route. They kept Tibbs. They kept Randle. So that's why that's the pushback. I hope that made sense. But I appreciate the comment, Busy, and you're not off base by any stretch. Black Ice, what's going on, Black Ice? So happy you talked about Obi already. It makes me feel better feeling bad for Obi. I do feel bad for him. When the game was over, normally you'd see him high five fans while he's walking through the tunnel. He was the only Knick not to high five a fan. Sad. It is sad, and I feel genuinely sad for him, which is why, that's a dude. I think he is going to have a meaningful moment in the NBA. He cares too much, and he's too much about the right things. And I do question the skill set in terms of how easy it is for that skill set to work on a really successful team at the highest of levels. But man, it's sad how it's ending right now, which is why I push back on Jeremy when he said that they should have traded him unequivocally. They should have traded him at the deadline. And I push back because I'm like, no, what if Randall gets hurt, or what if Randall gets traded in the summer, and this and that. Just like watching what's going on now, it's sad, it's unfortunate, and yeah, in terms of why he didn't get traded, I think that's a whole different conversation as far as who deserves the most blame for that. But it's unfortunate. I wish I had something more to give you than that. Thanks, Black Guys. Emil Beaumansour, what's going on, Emil? I think the RJ situation might be similar to the Julius Randle situation last year. He might need the offseason to reflect and improve his game. Brunson is Brunson. Welcome to New York, Josh Hart. Wish we had him last night. Yeah, would it have made a difference? It might have made a difference. I don't know what RJ. I'm not going to pretend to get into RJ's head and figure out. Like Julius, like, I think he had to know that his trade value was like pretty bad around the league. And I think he also, like, here's the thing. For as rough as RJ's minutes have been this season, and they have been rough in ways that have been troubling from a defensive standpoint and like an awareness standpoint. Again, he missed Obi under the basket. Like, that was what RJ's done this season. That's not what Julius did last season. What Julius Randle did last season and how he went about his business was really, I mean, I don't have to tell you. I wanted the guy. I was ready to attach a first-round pick to trade him. Never going to outrun that one. That's a thing. Talk about the Cam Hive not letting me outrun what I said the other day. No one's going to bring it up, though, because, like, a lot of people felt the same way. Not everybody. A lot of people, though. RJ's not at that level. It's just, it's just like, man, you're better than this. We know you're better than this. We know you're a better player than this. So I don't know what it's going to take, if there's going to be introspection or like, I don't know what that's going to look like, but I don't know. And I don't know if he's going to get a chance. I don't know if he's going to be back here. That's the other part of it. Thanks, Emil. Appreciate it. Daniel Dennison, thank you for the contribution. Appreciate you. Maple Maxo. What's going on, Maple Maxo? Why does Hart replace more? Who does Hart replace more in crunch time, RJ or Grimes? If Hart is re-signed, who is more expendable this offseason? We talked about that a little bit. I think it's a different conversation because RJ is, you're talking about, you need his salary to go out in a star trade. Grimes is more like another team coming to you and being like, we're not making this trade unless that dude is in it. And then the Knicks coming back and being like, well, if that dude's in it, then we're not giving you this other thing, pick or whatever. So, like, different conversations. I think if you're asking me in a perfect world, like, who would the Knicks rather retain from a basketball standpoint? I think the answer is Quentin Grimes. I think. And I think that would have been true whether they had Hart or not, whether they got Hart or not. In terms of who does Hart replace more in crunch time, I think it depends on the game. I think it depends on the game. I think it depends on the matchup. You know, we'll see. I I think it's just going to be, and I think there will be games when Hart ends the game on the bench. To be clear, there will be those games. Maybe soon, maybe a lot of games. I don't know. I'm not putting that past anybody. Thanks, Maple Maxwell. Lamar Jordan. This is a little bit harsh. Grimes had 1 point, 1 rebound, and 1 assist today. Can Hart take some of his minutes? So Grimes did not have a good game. Defensively, he didn't have a great game. Like, the Jordan Clarkson blow-bys were like kind of jarring, given how good we've seen Grimes defend for pretty much his entire year. And that's a tough matchup. Jordan Clarkson's made a lot of guys look bad this year. Clarkson's averaging a bunch of points. He is really good. He's a really good player. Offensively, he's a really good player. It was not Grimes' best night. I'm not going to kill him for it. You know. Absolutely not. But thank you for the comment and contribution, Lamar. Jaden Sporer. This team is flat out good. Definitely better than 2020-21. P.S. I hope Clyde is feeling okay. Yeah, I caught some wind of that. I'm sure Clyde will be fine. In terms of how good this team is, I don't think we did our like full standings update or full stats update. So as of right now, in terms of net rating, your New York Knicks are 11th. And actually, they're in a virtual tie, it seems like. They're both 1.4 points per 100 possessions in the positive with the Phoenix Suns. So Phoenix is 10, New York is 11. And then next up, you got how about this, man? The Oklahoma City Thunder. +1 net rating. The Oklahoma City freaking Thunder have the 12th best net rating in basketball. 1 game under 500, man. But yeah, the Knicks 31-27, 11th virtual tie for the 10th best net rating. They're tied for the 9th most wins in the league. It's a good basketball team. It's a good basketball team. There's no two ways about it. Good basketball team with the 19th ranked defense in the league right now. Clean it up, guys. Please. Thanks, Jaden. Honcho, Heart and Heart, the new law firm. # we back. I don't know. Barry, Weiss and Rosenblum, you're going to be replaced by Heart and Heart. I'm sure Barry won't mind. Thanks, Honcho. Jessica Elsner, # Groove is in the Heart. A big-time favorite of mine. That song. I like that song. Groove is in the Heart. I'm not going to sing it right now. Oh, it's in my head. It's playing in my head. Really good song. Corey McConkey. What's going on, Corey? Thank you for the contribution. Jalen Brunson, Emmanuel Quickly, Hart, and Hartenstein, this new one, are the types of players you find on the top teams. Completely agree. 1,000% yes. Great comments. Winners. You still need that number one to Jalen Brunson's number 2 in the future. That's why I think when I said the whole thing an hour and change ago about like to Jessica's original comment about why you can make the argument why it is defensible to give up the pick. You're giving up the pick to get a guy in the door who can be part of a winner. Can he be the starter on a winner? Is he more of a 6-man on a winner? I don't care. He's a guy who's going to play an instrumental part on a winning team, as are the other players you mentioned. Now, they still have some rejiggering to do. They still have the biggest, most important piece to get. But they're getting more and more of those pieces. And all the credit in the world to the front office for getting those players and putting them in a situation where they could be successful. I want to see them keep doing it. Front office deserves a lot of credit today. A lot of credit. Thank you, Corey. Daniel Dennison, thank you for the generous contribution. I love Hart. He may be the perfect wing complement to RJ. Interesting. I want to revisit that thought. If RJ has been so bad, why wouldn't opposing GMs want Evan Fournier, IQ, or Quentin Grimes? Can't help but feel the target has moved from last year Julius Randle to RJ. He has the highest ceiling at 22. Okay. I don't think RJ has been so bad. We're talking about a 22-year-old player who is averaging 20 points a game. Right? That you can't be so bad. Especially with like the efficiency is not like we're not at rock bottom levels of efficiency either. Like the efficiency is like even tonight, he had 20 points on 15 shots. Okay, not great. It's not terrible. That's fine. I think opposing teams are going to look at a player who is playing. I think if you're an opposing team and you're looking at RJ this year, I think there's a real argument that you could be like, this is the worst he's ever going to look. He's not anywhere close to this bad of a player on defense. We know he's a good passer. Let's just get him in a situation where maybe it's like outside the pressure of New York. Maybe it's outside of the topsy-turviness of his time with the franchise where it's like, oh, you're the face. Now you're a supporting player. Now you're really the face again. Now you're third on the depth chart. Now we're bringing in your eventual play. Like up and down and up and down and up and down. I agree with you. But it sounds like what you're pushing back on is like the notion that they have to trade RJ, and you're bringing up the idea that Josh Hart could be a perfect complement to him. I don't know that like there is a perfect wing complement to RJ Barrett. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what makes someone a perfect wing complement to RJ Barrett. Like someone who's really good on defense. Okay. So, I mean, yeah, I guess I would know more what that looked like if RJ had a more well-rounded offensive game in terms of like what we hope his offensive game is going to be eventually. Because right now, when I think like perfect complement to RJ Barrett, the only thing I think of is a lob threat like Mitch, and a lob threat like Mitch, and a guy who's going to clean up RJ's misses and give him Kobe assists, which is Mitch. That's the only compliment in 3+ years of RJ Barrett that I feel like who's his best compliment? Mitchell Robinson. I can't visualize like what makes a good wing complement to him. I could see a wing that like covers up for some of his deficiencies, but that's not a compliment. Or maybe it is a compliment. I don't know. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate that thought process there. LDS, what's going on, LDS? Took the wife to the game, and even she, a true casual, was marveling at Hart. This guy is everywhere. The guy's a legit keeper. Tell your wife the casual tag, that's a badge of honor. We wear that. We are all casuals here at KFS. I don't know if you know that. Myself, Andrew Claudio, the whole Casual Friday crew. God bless them. XJ, Mensa, Sean, Chris. Nah, Chris isn't a casual. Chris is like, he's a professional. Like, he's actually he's like calling Fordham games and like actually a reporter at MSG now. He's not a casual. Jeremy, I mean, it doesn't get more casual than Jeremy. Come on. So tell your wife to wear that proudly. Benji. I didn't mention Benji. Benji, are you casual? Ace Zulo? No, those guys do film work. They're not casuals. So we're some casuals. Wilton Moran, keep up the great work, KFS. Can we talk about how Emmanuel Quickly hardly misses corner threes these days? He's been good. He's really picked up the shooting. I think it's funny how it doesn't feel like that long ago that we were having conversations about like, is Emmanuel Quickly like what's going on with his offense? Like, is this going to be a concern moving forward? I think Quickly's fine. I think his offense is fine. I think his confidence is back. I think he's firing away in the ways that he needs to fire away. And I have now officially filibustered enough to look up on corner threes this year. Emmanuel Quickly, according to Basketball Reference, is hitting 35% on corner threes. I feel like that number has definitely gone up over the second half of the season. On the year, not counting tonight, Quickly is at 34.6% from three, which, funny enough, is the exact percentage he was at last year, 34.6%. But again, it's trending in the right direction, which is the most important thing. Like, I think I've used this as a barometer for like where to start before, but like since the Golden State game, which not including tonight has been 26 games, Emmanuel Quickly is shooting 47% overall and 38% from three, and averaging 16 points a game. So yeah, Emmanuel Quickly's good. Thanks, Wilton. Fountain of Hoop, Macri. Hart is the example of a player who buys in. I actually like. Buy-in implies that like a guy in maybe like a different scenario or a different team or whatever, in a different role, is like not going to buy in. Josh Hart's a guy who, it doesn't matter who he's playing for, what coach, what team, what teammates, what situation. That dude is all in all the time. I will again, he went to a dog shit team in Portland last year, and he gave it everything he had for a team that was trotting out a bunch of guys who would not have made G League rosters. Like, and he gave it everything. That dude doesn't know how to not give it everything he has. All love in the world to Josh Hart. I'm so happy this post game has been so pro Josh Hart. Thank you, Fountain of Hoop. Appreciate it, man. Jesse M. Quentin Grimes with the ultra 11111 stat line tonight. That can't be a real thing. 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 point, 1 block, 1 turnover. You're missing the steal, Jesse. If it was the steal, I'd give you the benefit. But then I guess that would be 6 ones. Still pretty impressive. Good job by you. Bobby Lynch, I hear my youngest daughter is up. What time is it? It's almost midnight. It's about her usual wake up in the middle of the night time. Again, don't have kids until you're 30. Bobby Lynch was at the game tonight, John. Electric atmosphere when Hart came into the game, especially when he hit the corner three late in the fourth. Great addition. Glad to hear it, man. And thanks for tuning in and chiming in after you were at the game. I love that. I love that. It makes me, I can't tell you how proud I am to be someone that, like, you were at the game and you had that experience and you want that experience to continue, and you're coming and you're tuning into us. That's awesome, man. Thank you. Thank you, Bobby. Appreciate the contribution. Zach Horowitz, what's going on, Zach? Speaking of guys I appreciate, Hart and JB closed a few big games once or twice before, you think? He'll help a ton in critical moments where you need an athletic guard to make a play. Let's fucking go, Knicks. Trust these guys on the floor. You want these guys on the floor. You want their camaraderie. You want their chemistry on the floor together. It leads me to a point that I think I wanted to make after the last game, and maybe after the Orlando game, I forget. You know what I want for the rest of this year? Here's what I want. I want the Knicks to be a team that in the first round of the playoffs, God willing we get there, are a team that the other team, whether it's Boston or Milwaukee or Philly or I guess Cleveland, if we're really dreaming, maybe Brooklyn, who the hell knows, is like fuck, man. I don't want to deal with that team. That's what I want. That's what I want more than anything. And I don't know if that's really possible, but like it'd be really cool to see over the last 24. Yeah. Over the last 24 games of the season, and Mitch is going to need to be back for this to be a reality, for this team to turn into that team. That some better team is going to be like, man, I wish we had gotten, I wish we had gotten the Heat. Could you imagine that? How cool would that be? And again, no one ever says these things, but like to know that you're a team that it's another team, a better team doesn't want to play. And I think what you're talking about here in terms of like closing games and critical moments, I think that's a big part of that. Because for me, the reason right now that another team would look at the Knicks as a team they do want to play is that we have not been great in critical moments. So can they get over that hump? Big thing. Thank you, Zach. Haitian Ferg, keep Cat far away from this team. Not going to work. I think you're not alone in that opinion, Haitian. That's not the trade I want to make either. I'm thinking of my hypothetical the other day on the Substack. If you had to pick Levine or Cat. Neither is the answer. Appreciate you, man. Jesse M., will you or Dolores make cutlets for the big game? So since you asked, we went shopping today, and we're going to make chili tomorrow. So I got some ground chuck, which has a little bit, the nice man who at the butcher's shop told me it's a little bit more fat, which I hope will be better for the chili. I also got, and this is kind of like my secret ingredient to chili. I like it. I like the sweetness it adds. Some butternut squash. Trust me, if you've never tried it before, butternut squash in your chili, and you add it in later. So like, and it's a bit of a challenge because like you don't want it to turn into mush, but you also want it to be soft enough so that anyway. So it's going to be a ground chuck butternut squash chili. I got some beautiful poblano peppers that I want to try to watch something on YouTube about. Maybe I could blacken those before I add them to the chili. Got to run to the supermarket tomorrow morning to get a couple other little ingredients. I already got my tomato puree and my chicken stock and all that, but I want to get a couple little things, maybe some scallions. Got some good chips here, so that's good. I usually put bacon in my chili. I like to get some bacon. So that's going to be the food in the Macri household for the big game. I hope you approve. Adam K. I love you, KFS, but how do these guys, Busy Kev, afford the super chats every game? You got some rich, great friends, Mac. I love hard already. This guy is New York Knicks. That might be the best comment I've ever seen. I don't know. I don't know, but I just hope that I can properly show my appreciation and my love and my thanks on behalf of the entire Knicks Film School family of the fact that, like, again, we put in a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of energy and a lot of everything to try to make this product good, and it never feels like work. It never feels like work to me. I wouldn't do it if it felt like work, but like the fact that we get the support that we do consistently from like the same people over and over and over again is just it never ceases to astound me. And I feel I felt this way for the last several years. I feel like I'm going to wake up one day and it's just like, the jig is up. So I'm just very thankful, and I don't mind you pointing it out, Adam. Just really thankful, very, very thankful. And we have the best fans in the world. Knicks have the best fans in the world, and Knicks Film School has the best fans in the world. So thanks to everybody. Fountain of Hoop. You could see why Tibbs fought and almost lost his job a few years ago on the Wolves when he fought to draft Josh Hart. Them Big East guards is for real. Yeah, you want those guys. They help you win ball games. And if you're a coach, you want someone who's going to help you win ball games. I don't blame Tibbs for that. Thanks, Fountain Hoop. Boston Nick. Talk about a guy who's been supportive over the years, man. At one point, Hart reminded me of an undrafted guy from Tulsa. There you go. Talk about Mr. Starks. You're reminding me about chapter in Chris Herring's book about John Starks got on the wrong bus one day back in Tulsa. Tulsa, Oklahoma, the way he plays with so much passion, pride, and awareness out there. Scary. Yeah. Yeah. You know, different players. You know, Starks obviously was undrafted. Was he undrafted or was he drafted in the second round? I think he was undrafted. It's a bad job by me if I get that wrong. Yeah, he plays like every day that he's on the court he could be getting cut. You know, that's how Starks played. Every day he ever stepped foot out there, he was like, you know, played like a guy who remembered that he might be cut. I don't know if Josh Hart has that mentality because, like, he was, you know, played for Villanova. You know, he was a significant player. He was always going to be an NBA player, the whole thing. But yeah, man, it's inspiring. It's what you love. If you've been watching Knicks basketball for as long as I know we have, Boston, you can't replicate that. You can't fake it. Definitely can't fake it. Fit like a glove. Appreciate you, man. Nicholas Roberts, Paul George deal this summer? Question mark. We'll see how the Clippers do. We talked about it. Me and Andrew talked about it earlier today on the Patreon pod. I'm not ruling the Clippers out. If you told me the Clippers were made it to the finals, I'd be like, all right, I guess they got their shit together. If you tell me the Clippers are eliminated in the first round of the playoffs, like just for a second, humor me here. Who are we 1,000% sure that the Clippers are beating in the Western Conference playoffs? Like, really? Like, we're really sure? Are we sure they're beating the Nuggets? No. The Grizzlies? No. The Mavs? I hate to say it, but the Mavs with Kyrie Irving? No. The Suns with Kevin Durant? No. I just named 4 teams. So right there. And we could go on. The Warriors. I know they lost tonight. I know they're without Steph Curry until after the All-Star break, maybe a little while until after the All-Star break. Are we sure the Clippers would beat the Warriors in a series? No. Even if you want to go to a team like the Timberwolves, or maybe not Timberwolves. I'm sorry, I misspoke. The Pelicans. Are we sure the Clippers would beat a healthy Pelicans team in the playoffs? So, like, I go through all that to say, if the Clippers could bow out in the first round, if not the play-in. I don't expect that, but like that's not even out of bounds. So if they bow out in the play-in or the first round, and Steve Ballmer's looking at that tax bill next summer or next year or whatever, like, are we sure? Like he's keeping this team together? I don't know. Maybe he does. That's the only reason why I think it's fair to speculate. Good game, by the way. Mavs Kings right now. Fourth quarter, 3:23 left. Tie game. 106-106. Fargo Tufo, what's going on, Alex? Hi, John. Just got home. I missed the game. Is this Josh Hart kid any good? I think he's a keeper, like GMAC. I think, Josh Hart, GMAC, the scales are, it's like what Thanos wants. Perfect balance. Even. I think he's a keeper. You got to go watch this game just for the Hart stuff. Thanks, Alex. Appreciate you, man. Sam Garcia's dad. We started with Sam Garcia. Now we're almost done. We're finishing up with Sam Garcia's dad. RJ has gone from a number 2 to a number 1 to a number 3 to a sometimes number 6. He has proven he's clutch. If he has to go in a superstar trade, okay, but don't toss him on the side of the road. Hashtag, why do I still love RJ. You still love RJ because you see the moments where he is a good, special, winning player. And he has had those moments. He has not had those moments enough this year, but he has had those moments consistently throughout his 3+ years here in New York. That's a real thing. We did not imagine that. I completely agree with you. RJ Barrett is not to be tossed aside. I think the theoretical conversation about whether you swap him out for a player like OG Anunoby is at the very least a worthy conversation. If you told me after having that conversation, you're like, you know what? I'm good. I might be on that side. I haven't thought it through yet, to be honest with you. I really haven't thought it through yet, and I quite frankly just haven't watched enough of OG Anunoby. And if you want to replace OG Anunoby with like a Mikal Bridges, who's like a kind of better version of OG Anunoby, maybe my answer is a little bit different. And Mikal's not a superstar, but I agree with you. If it's a superstar trade, you do the trade. If not, and again, it should be the right star. Your implication by saying superstar, if like there are no wrong superstars, but like, again, don't trade fucking RJ Barrett for Zach LaVine. Please. Thank you, Sam Garcia's dad. Dom Cappuccini, what's going on, Dom? Maybe not worth the moment of the game nomination, but the Randall no look behind the back. Yes, I had this noted down. To Emmanuel quickly for the corner three was pretty sick. It was. Let's snap that streak on Monday. # we getting back. I so badly want to beat the Nets. If they beat the Nets on Monday, I don't care if they lose by 40 to the Hawks in Atlanta. Beat the Nets. Please beat the Nets. I'm also rooting, again, I'm sorry, I have one eye on this Kings game. They're now down by 1 to the Mavs. Kyrie is, it's a steal by De'Aaron Fox. And the Kings are winning. Yes. Beat Kyrie. Beat Luka. Beat Dallas. Thank you, Dom. Is that it? I don't see anything else. Okay. I think we're done. Again, I will say it. Absolutely. 100%. Knicks and Knicks Film School. Best fans in the world. We are sitting here on a freaking Saturday night after a win over the Utah Jazz. 2 hours plus talking about this team. Love you all. Love that you love this team like I do. And you don't think I'm a nut. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget, like the video. Like the channel. Subscribe to the channel. The whole thing. We'll be back with me and Jeremy recording a part tomorrow morning with GMAC. And we'll be back post game Monday, the whole thing. All the good things. Look out for all of it. Here we go, baby. Giddy up. Good win tonight. Josh Hart, baby. I love you. Peace out.